Without further ado, I'm going to give a one-sentence synopsis of each team and why they're where they're at. Jared, you have your time to completely yell at and destroy every single second of it momentarily after. But let's go ahead and take a look right now. Starting at the top, the Lions in the top spot. Since the week 1 loss, they have been absolutely explosive and torn everybody apart. The last 2 weeks, they stopped playing at halftime after they had decimated both Ohio and Kentucky teams. Number 2, the Eagles. Every statistical category does not look good minus the win-loss spot, and that's what matters. Even if it doesn't look pretty, they find ways to win. They get the spot there. Buccaneers, you have arguably the MVP at quarterback and outstanding receivers, running backs, offensive line, and they're terribly injured still. They haven't even got healthy yet. The Bills, despite the loss to the Patriots by the skin of their teeth, it is still Josh Allen, James Cook. That is all you need to be at number 4. For somehow the Colts at number 5 with the most efficient and second most explosive offense in the game with points per game. They have more passing touchdowns than punts on the season and the league's leading rusher and a good enough defense to get it done. Next up, we have the 49ers. Despite everybody being injured, despite siphoning the entire life force of everyone on the team to keep Christian McCaffrey alive, plugging in Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne of all people, they've still have 1 loss on the year. They've been outstanding, still leading the NFC West. The Rams at this spot, they do have 2 losses. The loss to the 49ers definitely hurt them. If they beat the 49ers, they're up a few spots, but you can't lose that game. They have a very close one with the Eagles coming right down to Jordan Davis being Jordan Davis at the very end of it, in the thick of it. Outstanding. Puka Nacua is incredible. Devontae still Devontae. Matthew Stafford leads the NFL in passing yards. The issues is that secondary, if that pass rush isn't decimating backfields, that secondary and back end has been a little bit exposed in a few of the games. Packers, I don't know what to do with them. That tie against the Cowboys is weird. The loss to the Browns is egregious, but you still have so much talent and you still have the ability to go toe-to-toe with anybody, so they get stuck here for now. The Chiefs, they are bad right now record-wise, but I refuse to give it's like Taco Bell. No matter how much it pains you, you kind of can't quite get rid of it. They're 2-3 with Rashee Rice coming back, assuming he doesn't get in trouble again. Xavier Worthy getting healthy. It's still Big Red leading the way. We'll stick them at 9 for now because I don't know what to do with them. And it helps that number 10, the Chargers, can't seem to not get injured every other damn week now that their entire offensive line is out. Justin Herbert's getting banged up. You're losing your running backs. It's only a matter of time at this point before the Chargers charge it, but at least they had a good 2-week run. Honorable mentions. Jacksonville, the only reason is I'm concerned. They're 4-1 and they deserve it, but it's been very takeaway dependent. They lead the NFL in takeaways with 13. I don't think that is sustainable through 17 total games. Through 5, they'd be getting like 50 takeaways on the season. I don't know how sustainable that is. And they give up a lot of yards, don't score a lot. We'll see, though. Steelers, for no other reason, they weirdly find ways to win, and it makes no damn sense. They just always find a way. And Seattle with the second best most productive receiver, Sam Darnold, the second best QBR. Really good defense. And that game against the Buccaneers was arguably one of the best quarterbacking games, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield on the season. We'll give Seattle a little bit of love there. So, Jared, go ahead and have at thee.
Honestly, I love 95% of it. Not really any complaints about the top 5. Those are my top 5, different order, but honestly, it's less splitting hairs. 6, I put the 49ers at 7 just because I love how Mac Jones is a resurgence, but if they go back to Brock Purdy, they'll fall out of the top 10 really fast. I think Mac Jones is a more talented quarterback. Me dancing on Brock Purdy's grave is just gravy for me. I'd slap the Jacksonville Jaguars at 6. Listen, ball don't lie. And the Chiefs, the only reason they were even in that game on Monday night was because the refs gift wrapped them about 4 or 5 calls. They might as well call themselves the Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, I would swap them out with the Chargers at 10. And the Seahawks, I would swap out with the Chiefs at 9. Other than that, I think it's a great list. My biggest issue with the Chargers and Rams is the Rams to me have everyone's like, oh, they only lost because of like what Jordan Davis did. It's like, yeah, they also choked away a 19-point lead, just like we did. As for the Chiefs, man, they're like they beat up a really crappy Ravens team and a really crappy Giants team. That's not really saying much for wins, and they needed the refs to help them get it back against Jacksonville. Seattle's got quality wins, and the problem is the Chargers, dude, they're a walking infirmary. That's why I won't put them in the top 10. They may not make it 17 games, much less be ranked. So I feel bad for Justin Herbert. Like, even Omarion Hampton's out for 4 weeks now. I think anybody who's on my fantasy team that's not a Philadelphia Eagle is cursed. So in your league. So I just am assuming that I'm going to start starting bench warmers and see if anybody goes off. But yeah, that's my list right now. Other than that, Deej, great job. I honestly kind of agree with 99%, but I think the Lions are the best team in the league right now. Honestly, that's pretty locked in. I like it.
I will say I did. It's hard because it's 10 and there's probably like 15 teams that could make sense in there. So if someone has to spill over. Denver's weird to me because they did have that big come from behind victory. I also think that was the Eagles' offensive play calling, putting a 12-gauge shotgun directly into their own foot. So I hold a little bit. This is why it's the power rankings, not the standings. So this is where I have to nitpick a little bit. I think they still have trouble beating good teams. I guess like they'll run ramshot over the Bengals, but even going back to last year, they didn't really have a lot of success against teams we consider at least above average. And that kind
You
of
put them up
worries me.
against Philly in 3 weeks, they will get smoked. That's
kind of the same way I'm feeling. And I kind of feel that same way with Jacksonville. I'm worried that if they don't get multiple takeaways a game, that they won't be able to. And it's hard because takeaways are obviously skill based, but how often are 13 takeaways in 5 games is asinine. Like that's tough to replicate.
When I evaluate a defense, and you and me obviously have different philosophies. We're both film nerds, right? I look at a defense. I want to see how you swarm. I don't give a crap about stats. To me, what makes an elite defense is how much misery can you inflict on the opposing team's offense. The Chiefs' defense is phenomenal to me because they inflict so much misery on the opposing team. There's a angst and an anger and a frustration to it. The Eagles' defense, they may give up big plays here and there, but you always see 3 or 4 hats on the ball, and there's always somebody laying a stick. It's never a soft arm tackle that saves a touchdown. What makes the Jaguars interesting to me is they do all of that, but they also force turnovers. Devin Lloyd in that defense has been incredible, and if they can get healthy on the front 7, the sky's the limit. Like, it's Saxonville 2.0 with a better quarterback. That's what's scary. That's what scares me for Jacksonville. With Jacksonville, if they can get healthy on that front 7 and continue to run the plays effectively with Liam Cohen, we could see them swapping out with Buffalo or Tampa in the top 4. I truly feel that with that roster. I think we saw them get the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. this game. They were able to run the ball despite Kansas City's efforts to stop it. And Travis Hunter is finding his role in the offense, which I never thought I'd say. The kid shouldn't play corner. He's an okay corner. He's a great receiver, talent-wise. He's a freak. It was cool while it lasted. If you need a spare cornerback for Hail Marys, fine, or dime package. But, dude, let the kid focus on being a freak of nature wide receiver. He's got so much. He's Brandon Lloyd to me. That's what he looks like out there. Smooth, a little bit of burst, and freakish jumping ability. He's Brandon Lloyd. Like, guy who led the league in receiving yards, Brandon Lloyd. Like, to me, he's the perfect, like, and then also Parker Washington has become like this great slot weapon. So, to me, Jacksonville can only get better as long as, and Lawrence is showing me he's making the progression. I mean, listen, that one throw, it was a pass interference on his one interception, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But, dude, Jacksonville, if it wasn't for a couple bad calls, might have won that game by 21.
I am curious to see how well that offense continues because it's been very sputtery. Like those moments when it's on, you're like, oh, Travis Hunter, oh, Brian Thomas getting the ball, ETN's up there, Bajal Tootin when he gets on the field. Like they got some guys. It's just very sputtery to me. I try to think of things that carry throughout the season moving ahead, which is why I even have the Colts this high because efficient offense is something that you can keep replicating. As long as you make your reads, you hit your spots in the right time. They're not teams that I think of them like last year, the last few years, where you can get the 3-play 90-yard touchdown with Anthony Richardson, but you can't pick up a first down for a quarter. Then this year is the exact opposite. So I take a little value in that, which is part of the reason I have the Lions so high is they can do both. And it's annoying. And they didn't miss a beat. The other team I'm looking at on here, I'm curious what your thoughts are, is what do you want to do with the Green Bay Packers? They look so dominant for 2 weeks. Micah Parsons has less solo tackles than Jamar Chase on the season, which
by the way, thank you for that stat. I dropped it on McCarthy's show last night, and I was laughing hysterically.
Like, it's so unusual, even though he's still dominant, he still makes those plays because of the pressures and just the way he affects the game with his existence. But there's something weird about them. I don't know what to do with him after a loss to the Browns and then a tie to the Cowboys. But you see the ability, but the results don't always match up. It's so weird.
I think partially the Packers' defensive system is to blame. Because as much as you want to talk smack about Schottenheimer and Eberflus and that defense and who was their DC before Eberflus? He's been there for a while, right?
This is his first year back with them. They had Dan Quinn the 2 years. I'm not sure off the top of my head who it was last year.
Whatever they were running the previous years before this year, Micah was a weapon. almost similar to like a Terrell Suggs, where it's like you didn't know where he was going to be on the field, but you had to account for him. With Green Bay, I feel like they're trying to cage him into a side of the ball. And here's my biggest thing about the Packers. It's like, full disclosure, their misery is my success this year because of the whole tush-push thing. I find LaFleur and his little crony, Sean McVay, soft. But for Mike, I'm happy he got out of Dallas. My biggest issue with them is not even their pass rush with Rashawn Gary, who I'm a big fan of. My biggest issue is their secondary and their quarterback. I'm not a Jordan Love believer. I'm the opposite. I love the kid's character. I love his views on religion and his views as a person. On the field, though, I watched this kid live. I watched his first career touchdown pass to Christian Watson. I was there in Philadelphia when he threw it. The kid's not impressive to me. He's got a crazy amount of physical talent, but he doesn't have it. I think, to me, his ceiling's a Dak Prescott, which is great on a good roster. But he's not, he doesn't have that, like, I am more afraid of a Burrow, a Herbert, a Hurts, a Lamar, maybe not Lamar this year, but an Allen getting down the field and punching one in. And Mahomes, obviously. If I'm Denver was crapping their pants watching Jalen march right down that field. And if they don't pass interference, Goddard catches that ball at the 3. And we're talking first and goal on the 3-yard line, and Philadelphia probably gets it in somehow. Because it's that, and you can go back to games with Burrow doing the same thing. Allen does the same thing. I don't see that killer exit with Jordan Love. You always have a shot to beat Jordan Love because you know he won't close it. Baker, to me, scares me more than Jordan Love. I rank Baker higher. To me, like, the whole potential stops at year 3. It does. It's like, okay, great, you can do this, but what have you done? Like, to me, I'm a results-driven guy when it comes to quarterback. And when we did our quarterback rankings about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, right? Nate asked me, he goes, where do you rank Jordan Love? I'm like, honorable mention. He goes, why? I'm like, talent-wise, he's top 7, top 6. But achievements, he hasn't done anything where I'm like, okay, this is great. Because he was just chucking the ball in the air against Philadelphia. Hey, I don't care how many receivers you got. I watched Carson Wentz outduel some of the best quarterbacks in the league in 2019 with lawn chairs and Greg Ward as a quarterback. It doesn't really matter to me. Tom Brady was throwing to lacrosse players. I don't want to hear the excuses. Show me what you can do to bring it to the team. So when I look at it's like who would you rather play in the playoffs, right? The Green Bay Packers are the bottom of this list to me. I'd rather play them in the first round over Detroit, Tampa, Buffalo, Indy, probably Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. Then you can kind of get into the maybes with the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Rams and the 49ers because they all have like big gaping flaws. The Packers to me don't scare me because, yeah, they may have a good defense. They also caught Detroit with their pants down on week 1. We have to acknowledge that. Like, they played a team in Detroit who hadn't found their identity yet. They found it.
In spades.
It was a very wonky, weird game. And who'd they play week 2? I feel like it was not as close.
Washington, and they kind of peppered Washington up and down the field, which.
But then again,
Washington. I'm still not sure with Washington either. They could have been an
honorable. Defense isn't good.
That's why it's so confusing with them.
There's a Motley Crue song called SOS. Same old situation. That is legitimately the story of the Commanders' defense. I saw Mike Tannenbaum today say the Commanders are going to win the NFC East because the Eagles' inconsistencies. I'm like, oh, we got this on lock now, boys. Like, it's going to be Dallas or Philly winning now because Tannenbaum just cursed them. I'm sorry. I don't value a team who can't force turnovers and can't stop the ball.
Say if we're gonna go with that with the NFC East, I would take my chance with Dallas winning over Washington at this point because their ability to score in bunches, and they still have corners that while they can get smoked, they are good at getting takeaways when you let them play in the right coverage, which Eberflus has to quit playing zone. Let those guys man up. That's what they do best. And if they figure that out, then they get interesting.
Also, the run game is back in Dallas. That should scare some teams.
The run team, Dak's playing the best he's ever looked. George Pickens is incredible. CeeDee's on his way back. That's only going to make him even. They're a lot more dangerous.
You were right. I will fully admit it. I was wrong. You were right on the Cowboys.
Well, there's still time. There's still 2-1-1. So like there's a ways to go. But
the curse of the no repeating NFC champions is alive and well. So I'm just going to get out ahead of it now. You were right. The Cowboys are the team I fear more than the actual Commanders. I think the Commanders have a problem, and it's not even Jaden Daniels. It's the fact that they're an AARP squad.
So like their problems are every single thing besides Jaden Daniels. And we haven't even seen Terry McLaurin yet at this point, too. So that's a little concerning because we haven't even got to see him yet. Is this injury going to linger or what's going to go on? But the last team I'm looking at here, or the last thing I'm going to mention that surprised me on here is I'm very obviously they haven't earned it, but if you'd have told me we're going to do quarterly rankings before the season, it's amazing to me that the Ravens aren't on here and they're still not even in consideration because they've been so terrible, basically pillar to post. It is feeling weird watching their absolute downfall, but because of that division, Joe Burrow's out. The Browns are a catastrophe. The Steelers, I still don't know if I feel comfortable with them. So Ravens, even at their 1-4 spot, could still win their division. They're still not out of it if Lamar gets back in the next 2 weeks. They could go on a very random run of Lamar playing MVP Lamar and end up with like 9-8 and win that division. That's the AFC North on paper looks so good, but this year it's the NFC South of previous years or the AFC South. Like there's a lot of holes because Pittsburgh did this last year too, where they're 7-1. It's oh my gosh, and they finished 10-7.
Here's my issue with this Ravens team, and they could completely prove me wrong here. And I hope they do because I like Lamar, I like John Harbaugh, I love this roster. This team looks like it quit. It does. It looks like John Harbaugh's lost the locker room after 1-4, and here's the worst part about it is it looks like Lamar's giving up on the season. When he was out, I get it, he was hurt, but his body language, he looked like T.O. in 2005 Eagles T.O. Like just done. Just dejected, done, doesn't want to be there, like he's pissed off. I was calling for Schottenheimer to be the patsy. I was calling for McDoofus down in Miami, which I still think he will. And that bumbling moron who calls plays in Tennessee. But here's the issue. We ignored the big elephant in the room that was John Harbaugh's been there since 2008. Deshaun Jackson, he drafted Joe Flacco. That was Joe Flacco in Deshaun Jackson's draft class. That was a long time ago. I was in 8th grade. I'm 30.
I'm grown now, and I was not grown then.
So here's the deal.
I had a lot more hair then.
Coaches generally don't last long in the NFL, and usually it's for multiple reasons: age, scheme, change of game, whatever. Maybe John Harbaugh just doesn't have the fire anymore. He doesn't have the drive. He doesn't have the command of the locker room like he used to. And that's not his fault. He's been the definition of success and steadiness and consistency in Baltimore, which is Hall of Fame worthy to me. You know, Colin Cowherd goes and he's around saying Jim Harbaugh's the best coach in the NFL, best coach in football. I'm like, no. He's not even the best coach in his own house. John's better. But
best coach at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he's not even the best. I think his daddy might even be a better coach than Jim is. Jim literally had a cup of coffee in the NFL, got smoked in a Super Bowl and a couple of NFC title games, went back to college, won a national title by cheating, and then came back. So, Colin, shut up. I know you have a thing for Jimmy. It's okay. You guys can go on your couples retreat after. But John Harbaugh's the best Harbaugh coach. But he's also lost the locker room. He's old, man. And it's not even he's old in coach years. He started after being the special teams coordinator in Philadelphia. That was his last job before this. Under Andy Reid, where McNabb, Dawkins, LJ Smith, Westbrook, and not even Deshaun Jackson yet were on this roster. That's how old the team was that he was on. The kick return for him when he was there was J.R. Reed. So Al Harris was on the Eagles team, I think. So I just want you to understand something here. Unfortunately for John Harbaugh, I think this is just the end of the line. And it's kind of like where Andy Reid left Philadelphia. Kind of same vibe, where it's just like it just isn't working.
Very rarely do coaches get 15 years with the same team. He's already well surpassed. He's the second longest tenured coach. Mike Tomlin's the anomaly in Pittsburgh, and they've been calling for him. They've been calling it for his head the last 5 years on top of it. Art and the rest of the crew will never pull the trigger on that. Not a chance. And unfortunately, Baltimore, that is a different story. And you could get just about anybody you want. Any coach you want to pursue, if you're Baltimore, you'll probably get them when you have Lamar Jackson there. They're like, hey, I would like you to be a coach. Anything short of maybe Andy Reid and Sirianni and a few of those Sean McVay, they could ask anybody. Their job.